Step 5. Be forgiving. The weak can never forgive. Forgiveness is the attribute of the strong. Gandhi. It is not easy to forgive. The very existence of the need to use the word implies that we have been hurt in some way. Forgiving a grievance, whether real or imagined, will be one of the best gifts you can give yourself. This is so whether you believe the individual deserves such kindness or not. When we refuse to forgive, we become resentful. Holding on to resentment is like drinking poison, and expecting the individual that wronged us to suffer. It can also be compared to inflicting wounds on our own bodies, and expecting someone else to feel the pain. This logic is not only riddled with flaws, it is also quite dangerous. Resentment can easily become hate, and hatred is a very ugly thing. But why do we find it so hard to forgive? If forgiving someone who hurt us will be so beneficial, why does the very idea of letting go of the hurt make us feel so uneasy? The real problem lies in the fact that none of us want to continue reliving the horror of whatever wrong was done to us. But as we continue to think about how badly we were hurt, we unconsciously begin to think about making the individual pay for what they did. Our flawed sense of justice often compels us to believe that if we hold on to all the pain that was caused and refuse to let it go, we will be getting the justice we deserve. This is especially so when the individual does not appear to be sorry for what they have done. Unfortunately, we cannot force the individual to become a better person by resentfully withholding our friendship or kindness from them. We are only hurting ourselves as we force our minds to relive the pain over and over again. While we are angrily storming through life with the heaviness of resentment in our hearts, our countenance, our speech, and our mood will be adversely affected. Despite the fact that we may have been wronged by one or maybe a few individuals, everyone around us will begin to be affected. Resentment often causes us to be irritable, depressed, and generally very unpleasant. And to make matters worse, it is often the people we love and not the people that wronged us, who will end up suffering as a result of what took place. The weight of resentment has also been known to affect our memory, productivity at work, ability to perform routine tasks, ability to focus, and even our sex drive. Being bitter, and refusing to forgive has also been linked to weakened immune systems, poor heart health, and even high blood pressure. As you can see, refusing to forgive will never prove beneficial. But what exactly is forgiveness? Is it simply forgetting what took place? Does forgiveness means we simply pretend that nothing happened? Nope. It is not that simple. When we forgive, we must involve more than our words. We must change how we think and feel about the individual. It is as if we are allowing them to start with a clean slate all over again. You refuse to allow the situation to cause you or the parties involved to hurt you any longer. This requires a high level of emotional intelligence, self-control, and love. Forgiveness is not just letting them off the hook for what they did, it is allowing those involved to stop dwelling in the past and move on to more important things. Forgiveness means that you fill yourself with love, and you radiate that love outward. You need to refuse to hang on to the venom or hatred that was engendered by the behaviors that caused the wounds. Wayne Dyer. Becoming that enraged as a result of someone else's actions, and allowing yourself to remain upset over what took place for an extended period of time, is really giving the individual the keys to your happiness. It is as if you are allowing that individual to control you, and they will continue to control you until you muster up the courage needed to forgive them. Forgiveness is also beneficial because it often results when we become aware of our own faults. It becomes easier for us to forgive when we remember that we too have had to ask for forgiveness many times. Contrary to what we may believe, we are not perfect. We sometimes hurt the people around us, even the ones we love, without even realizing it. When we refuse to harbor resentment and practice forgiveness, it will be easy for those around us to forgive us when we err. Here are a few reasons why it is beneficial to practice being forgiving. You will be a lot happier and in a much better mood, you will sleep better at night, you will not jeopardize your job by not being productive, you will not jeopardize your relationship with your significant other or your family, you will learn greater self-control and self-awareness, you will enjoy greater peace, you will gain the respect of those around you, you will no longer feel the pain of the damage that was done, you will experience less anxiety, your self-esteem will increase as you observe your own personal strength. What forgiveness is not. Being forgiving does not mean you have to be a pushover and allow yourself to be hurt over and over again. While you will let go of any grudge that you may have against the party or parties that wronged you, you certainly do not have to put yourself in a position for you to be hurt that way again. It is perfectly acceptable to be a little more cautious now that you have seen what these people are capable of. But please be very careful. In the case of minor offenses, which are those that were not purposefully malicious, do not make the mistake of assuming that the act represents who the person is. Please remember that we all make mistakes, and we too have caused someone else pain. Forgiveness is also not an opportunity for revenge. Declaring that you have forgiven someone is not a proclamation that you now have the upper hand. The persons involved may have been guilty, but they certainly do not owe you anything. Even if they do not apologize, you have still gained quite a lot by extending this peace offering, and letting go of the bitterness that once consumed you. Remember that by being forgiving, you are doing yourself a favor. While they might benefit as a result of your decision, forgiving them is actually a gift to yourself. How to forgive? Because we are both aware that forgiving someone who hurt you is not easy, I would never demand that you do so instantly or all at once. You have the option of forgiving in stages. Gradually letting go of your resentment towards the individuals who have wronged you will ensure that you have enough time to root out any trace of the bitterness you have towards them out of your mind and heart. If you get the opportunity to see this person often, you can start by simply saying hello. This may come as a surprise to them because they were not expecting such a kind gesture, and that might open the way for the discussion you both need to get some closure. Sometimes, even though you were wronged, it is best to take the initiative to set matters straight. Always remember how this humble act will benefit you in the long run, whether they appreciate the gesture or not. Another simple exercise that will help us to forgive is writing down the name of the person or persons that hurt you and listing all that they have ever done to upset you. Once you have completed that list, write a list of all the occasions on which you have hurt someone, and had to ask for forgiveness. This is not something that we are inclined to think about. Seeing in black and white how often we have let our bad habits hurt those around us, especially those we love, may be just the push we need to let go of any grudges we may have. What is even more alarming to some individuals is when they see the names of the person they resent on the list of persons who they have had to ask for forgiveness. Another useful exercise would be to make a list of all the good things this person has done for you. This exercise will help you to remember that despite their faults, this individual or these individuals also have many beautiful qualities as well. In the case of those closest to us, these qualities are the very reason why we loved them and kept them close in the first place. Just think, extending the olive branch of peace may even help this person to see the flaw in their thinking and change for the better. You would have made the world a better place by helping just one individual to become a better person. Such kindness does not go unnoticed, or without reward. It takes a very strong person to be forgiving. But think of how much better our lives would be if we did not walk around with the bitterness of resentment each day. Letting go of that heavy burden is one of the best ways to heal ourselves. This world was already a catastrophe, and it certainly does not need any more resentment to make it worse. And we will explain how being generous can also help us become far happier and more successful people in this world, simply by being generous. Step 6: Be generous. If you can't feed 100 people, then just feed one. Mother Teresa. A generous person is not required to give all their possessions away. A generous person is also not required to allow others to push them around. Being generous involves firstly, the readiness to give or being willing to give more than is required. Being generous takes kindness to the next level. You might be kind at heart, and often think about helping others, but unless you actually take them time to actually get the ball rolling in offering your time, energy or other resources for the benefit of another individual, you have not truly mastered the art of being generous. Generosity moves us to give of ourselves willingly, and expect nothing in return. I know you should be wondering how giving away your assets can help you live a better life. The truth is that many often regard generosity as one of the keys to being truly happy in this miserable world. In fact, many medical practitioners will attest to the fact that being generous is also very good for your health. In fact, here are some of the proven benefits of giving generously: reduced stress, lessening the likelihood of suffering from depression, increased sense of purpose, greater happiness, stronger families and marriages, less clutter, reduced risk of dementia, greater appreciation for all that you have, more likely to benefit from the generosity of others. A generous person often seeks out opportunities to do good for others. Just think about volunteers who make their way to help out at soup kitchens every weekend. Those of us brave enough to sign up for the Peace Corps are also considered quite generous. But simply helping an elderly lady with her grocery bags, or stopping to allow a child to cross the road, can be considered generous. This kind of concern for others proves beneficial because it forces us to focus on the needs of others instead of on our own problems. Anything that minimizes the effect of our problems, whether in our relationships or even financially, will have a direct effect on our health. Being generous protects us from all the cynicism and narcissism that makes it so hard to navigate our way through this world. I would, however, encourage you to be cautious as you endeavor to be more generous. Be very careful of the way in which you demonstrate your generosity. Please be especially careful when being generous to members of the opposite sex. If you are already taken, and you don't want to send the wrong impression, avoid gifts or favors that are personal in nature. A personal gift is anything related to one's body. Perfume, for example, would be considered a personal gift. Please also bear in mind that your own safety may come into play when being generous. Many people have gotten robbed when asked by a seemingly homeless person to give some money. Reaching into your wallet or bag, and revealing where your cash is kept, and how much cash you have, is a bad idea, no matter how needy the person may appear to be. A safer option would be to let the person know that you will return with a gift. I would strongly suggest that you go to a secure location, one that is away from prying eyes, and package everything that you would like to donate to this individual in advance. My final word of caution is that you need to feel out the person before being too generous. Some people like spontaneity and others prefer if you first ask them if they need your help. Even the best of intentions can put you in awkward situations if they are not executed correctly. We have discussed at length how improving various aspects of your own personality can help you to heal yourself, and avoid a lot of the emotional baggage that comes along with the negativity in this world. Holds the most important key to healing all the scars caused by this nasty world. Please read on to learn more about what that is. Step 7: Be yourself. Be yourself, everyone else is already taken. Oscar Wilde: The greatest gift you ever give is your honest self. Fred Rogers: We all need to learn to be ourselves again. This is one of the most crucial aspects of successfully navigating through this catastrophe we call life. This encouragement is in no way giving you the right to be a jerk. We have already discussed that healing ourselves from the pain caused by this world requires that we work hard to get rid of our negative traits. Traits such as being arrogant, rude, dishonest and stingy have no place in your life. When we proudly walk around with these ugly habits, we are inviting all sorts of negativity into our lives. The result of that is only more pain and disappointment. That is why I encouraged you in the very first episode to get to know yourself. This will better equip you to heal yourself by learning more about your faults. So what exactly does it mean to be yourself? It requires that you distance yourself from all the labels the world around us has imposed on us. These ugly labels come about because of the way we look, the way we dress, or even the community we grew up in. There is no reason for us to allow the world around us to squeeze us into a mold that doesn't really represent who we are. Just think about how liberating it would be to not have to pretend to be something you are not. This is all within reason, of course. We would never want to take certain liberties that may have far-reaching effects on our personal life, and may even jeopardize our jobs. That means that you might want to hold off on anything drastic, like dyeing your hair purple and green, until you find an employer that is willing to accommodate such a choice. Here are 5 important reasons why you need to start being true to yourself. 1. You will never be able to please everyone. If you constantly allow the people around you to determine who you are, you will constantly have to change what you stand for in order to try and make everyone happy. The only problem with this is that you will be dealing with so many conflicting demands that you will eventually end up disappointing someone. Additionally, putting yourself under this kind of pressure will leave you feeling dissatisfied in the end. 2. The society around us really doesn't know what it wants. The media portrays both the meek homemaker and the fierce go-getter as the ideal woman. Society also demands that men be sensitive to the needs of the opposite sex and the dangerous bad boy as well. Which will you be if you are simply allowing those around you to determine who you are? Whatever you decide to be, just remember that it is quite exhausting to be putting on this kind of show every day. 3. You will end up making life-changing decisions based on the whims of the people around you, who will not suffer the consequences of these choices. If you decide to have a child, simply because your family thinks it's time, you will be the one to have to take care of that child. If you decide to pursue a career because your peers think you would do well in it, you will have to live with the burden of a career that you hate, forever. 4. The truth always comes out. Sooner or later, people will begin to realize that you are faking. Unfortunately, as we see in the case of many celebrities, the truth often comes out in a big scandal or breakdown. 5. When you are content with who you are, you will be truly happy. How can you love yourself, when you are constantly pretending to be something that you are not? When all is said and done, you need to take control of your life if you want to see real improvements. You cannot expect different results if you are not bold enough to make drastic changes. And the time for those changes is now.